Good evening, I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and I'm pleased to welcome you all to the June 14, 2017 meeting of the Brighton Town Board. It's Flag Day, and thank you. I hope everybody did a little something to celebrate our nation and this day that we celebrate the Stars and Stripes and the history of our flag. But it's also a night for that very traditional local governmental meeting, our town board. I'm going to ask Councilmember Chris Warner to lead us in a pledge to that flag.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, Chris. We do have one presentation tonight, and I think it goes well with Flag Day. Really ever since our country was founded, immigrants have come to this country, and of course before our country was founded. They continue to do so. They continue to be an important part of our vibrant nation and our community. June is Immigrant Heritage Month, and we have a proclamation recognizing Immigrant Heritage Month. Whereas generations of immigrants from every corner of the globe took part in the construction of our cities, contributed to and bolstered our country's economy and that of Rochester and Brighton, as well as helping to create the unique character of our nation, our state, and our town. Whereas immigrants today continue to grow businesses, innovate, create jobs, and account for nearly 1/3 of our state's economic output and produce more than 1/5 of the state's gross domestic product. Whereas despite their countless contributions, the role of immigrants in helping to build and enrich our nation has often been undervalued. The month of June is being recognized as Immigrant Heritage Month with the hope that there will be greater public awareness and increased recognition of the continued contributions of immigrants, both past and present, in our American identity. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and the members of the Brighton Town Board do hereby proclaim and recognize June 2017 as Immigrant Heritage Month in the town of Brighton, and ask that our residents not only share in this observance, but also celebrate the fact that the town of Brighton is based on diversity and the idealism of inclusion and acceptance. And signed this 14th day of June 2017 by the five of us members of the town board. We'll now proceed with the open forum portion of our meeting, and I would ask if there's anyone here who would like to address the town board during the open forum. Marge, come on up.
Very bad, burning diabetic feet. So, I think everybody on the board can realize why I'm here. I don't think I have to mention it. My name is Marjorie Alaimo, A-L-A-I-M-O, 90 Towpath Lane, behind that car wash. Rochester, I don't know why we don't have Brighton. Well, no, the other ones have Pittsburgh and Marietta and duh. I'm working on it, but just to let you know. I'm getting Brighton. Last time I was here was in January, and I don't get around too much, but what I've learned throughout my years. When I was 16, my little sister at 5 years old died in my arms. I called for my mother. She came and dropped the fetus of 7 months on top of her. I struggled and got through all that without any medical problems or mental or what have you. I asked the morgue if they could take a 2-for-1, and they did. That hurt real bad, as it would anybody. But I got through life and helped the rest of my family, my siblings. I got married on the 23rd of July. My father took a strap to my rear end because I said no. I had to get my wedding dress on and get to the wedding. So I went to the wedding with blisters on my rear end. That, back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, that's the way it was on the farm and so on. I am dyslexic and attention deficit, and I have mentioned that many a times at these town boards. I have to learn and do things and watch your eyes, the way you speak, how you walk, and everything to determine what you're trying to portray to me. That's the way a dyslexic person is. I got divorced. I couldn't find a job. I didn't have any money. I didn't have what they have in today's world. We didn't have rugs on the floor. We went to a one-room schoolhouse, and we walked the 2 miles up and 2 miles back, getting up at 4 o'clock to get up there to stoke the big burner, then go back home and get dressed and milk the cow, and then go back to school. The kids today don't know what it was like when we were all back in that era. They don't know. You talk to them about a 7-party line, they don't know what it is. You talk about our house, they don't know what it is. You don't get a bath until after the horses drink the water. They don't know what it's like. My father put a rifle in my back. State troopers got him off because I told my mother he was having an affair. That was a no-no. Later on in life, my ex-husband sent a guy to my house at Hamden Road, over off of Blossom Road. And he said, if you as much as open your mouth in family court and say anything about his doings where he worked, we would shoot you dead and your children. Was I petrified? Oh, yes. I have 4 children. And another gun in my belly. I go to man's jewelers. I walk out, and I've been teaching people all around for the last 10 years, women, every time I get a moment. You got 3 minutes to spare? I want to tell you something. When you walk out of a jewelry place, tell them, put what you bought in a tissue, put it in your pocket, wrap the box up and hand it to you, put it in a bag, and whoever's in this jewelry store is monitoring what you have just bought. And they phone out to the car, here she comes, with the $4,000 ring or necklace or whatever it might be. When in fact, it's in your pocket. Go home, unwrap it, put it in the box. I backed out of the handicap, pulled into the middle of the 2 lanes there, to call my husband. 2 cars came up and held me at gunpoint. Did the guard from Mann's come out and help me? No. I tell all the women who are out there listening today, put your purse on the back floor behind the driver's side. When you open the car door, it is a shield. If he is sitting in a car, the second door becomes a second shield. My cell phone, my pocket, or it's in here. Hold it out, dial 911. I was able to tell 911 the car, make it the car, the license plate numbers, where it was parked, blah, 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 blah. Okay? And I said to the guy with the gun, here comes 2 cars. They're undercover police. You better move it. You wanted the jewelry? Here. I threw him the bag. You can have it. Go. Leave me alone. He took the bag and off he went. I'm sure he was surprised when he got home and found nothing in it. I was smart enough to put it in my pocket. So everybody go out shopping for holidays and what have you, you might want to think about that. That was the third gun. It's been in my back and my front. I don't take lightly to reports that aren't not correct. I was taught, get it correct or shut your mouth. That was it. No ifs, ands, buts, or ors, as the words were back those days. Dan, would you give one of these to Louise, Mr. Maley, yourself? There's 4. Okay, give one each one of those 4. I got a job. Headlines in the paper on Thanksgiving Day. A job is something to be thankful for. I didn't take handouts or anything. A very little. 4 children. I threw myself on the floor up at the unemployment when he said, there's all the computers over there. You go over there and you can find yourself a job. And I said, you don't understand. I don't know how to read. The computers are no good to me. And he said, well, I'm going to lunch. And I said some words and I threw myself on the floor at the age of 38. Grabbed a hold of his pant leg and I said, no, you're not. You're going to find me a job. I'm not going to take handouts. He got me a job at General Motors. My first paycheck came. Break came. I took my paycheck back up to payroll and said, you did something wrong. This isn't my paycheck. Somebody messed up here. I gave it back. That's honesty. I didn't know how much an hour I was going to make. I didn't know. It was way above what I was expecting. It appeared in the newspaper. A job is something to be thankful for. Opposite was Bob Hope. And that day. I got through that, got my job, and then I found a problem in the job that I had that would involve anybody here with your cars. I was a conscientious employee. I earned what I got paid for. I did above and aboard what I got paid for. More than the security, the people, the officers, union reps, whatever, inspectors, $50 million. And I knew what was wrong, but nobody would listen to me. I kept tracking a little book. Nobody would listen to me. Finally, the week before Christmas, when we got our 2 weeks checks, I never even turned it over to look at to see how much those checks were for. 12-hour days, 7 days a week, 2 weeks straight. Never looked. I turned them over and I signed them payable to the plant manager, Mr. Ron DeLittle of General Motors on Lyle Avenue. And everybody said, don't do it, Marge. Oh my God, don't do it. Well, you can't undo it. I've already done. I went home. Came in next morning or the next afternoon shift, walked down the aisle, and all the engineers were sticking their heads up. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Oh my God, don't do it, don't do it. Why? I said, why, Charlie? Because it was our job to find the problem. And here you are solving a $50 million problem. Now, I was smart enough to write down the bin numbers. Who was the setup man? Who was the foreman? Who was this? Who was that? I had it all in a little book. Hid it in the ladies' room. When they came and got me, I had to go to the bathroom, got the little book, put it in my pocket. But I did make that walk down to the plant manager's office. Scared out of my mind. The secretary actually threw herself over the desk, tried to grab me from going in the door. There was a big meeting from Michigan. I didn't care. It was open door policy. That meant you could open the door. I walked in, I said, "Excuse me, Mr. DeLito. I would like you to read this letter." Excuse everybody, he needs a minute. "Here's my paycheck." Both of them. I needed the money to feed my kids. But it was wrong what was going on. But everybody got overtime. So people were sabotaging. That's what was going on. Anyhow, they carried me upstairs.
Marge,
I know you're gonna cut me short.
well,
okay?
it's been about 15 minutes,
So, they found out I was right.
so I would ask that
So what
that
I'm
you
saying
get...
is that paperwork is to be correct. Right. I got 2 papers from the ambulance corps saying that last year when they came to my house, uninvited, I didn't invite them, I didn't call 911. No. Didn't need them. But somebody made a decision to have me put in the hospital for a reason I won't mention, and it was wrong. And 2 reports. I want to know who's Wonder Woman that says that I was sitting in my chair in the living room when my blinds are closed constantly, 365 days a week. And that's in a report, right here. Okay, and then the other one we've already taken up about texting. And I'm going to say the First Amendment and the Fifth Amendment, and whatever other amendment that covers my rear end here. But I am not going to stand for people making reports and innuendos and stuff when it's not true. I was in the middle of the garden right there. Right there. Talked about a word last time I was here. Tonight, you got a little thing there, a check mark inside those envelopes, where a girl at the hospital was yakking and made a check mark, a teeny little check mark. Mark me dead. I was dead for 5 months, dead. Social Security wouldn't even let me have my husband identify me as me, nor a neighbor, no. Mm-mm. In order to be alive and be back into the Social Security system and get my credit cards back and get my bank accounts back and be able to get gas in my car and buy food, I had to have somebody to identify me as me. Well, my buddies, Channel 10 News, came to the house, and Social Security, it's in the envelope, came to the house, and he identified me as Marjorie Lamo. I got my paperwork back, I got my checks started to come back, and everything started to go back in order. But again, what I'm saying is an error and can really ruin somebody's life, whether you think so or not. It can ruin your life. That's an error. She made an error, I ended up dead. Watch what you check, watch what you say, and watch what you sign. Those who are in public office or school teachers or whoever, that's your job. You're paid to do that correctly, not wrong. You have the letters in front of you, some of you, of what I had to go through. I had to write to every doctor. I had to send letters to every charge plate, everybody, that I was alive. I don't like being dead. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Marge.
Supervisor, Marge, I'm going to give these originals back to you. I made copies. There was some. Your Social Security number was on one of them, so I want to make sure.
Thank you for that, Dan. Is there anyone else that would like to address the town board during the open forum? I just want to make folks aware of an upcoming construction project right down the street here. Monroe County Department of Transportation, once school gets out, starting on or about June 19th, will be beginning work at the Lockdeville and Elmwood Avenue intersection. It is a Monroe County project. Keeler Construction is the contractor, and Erdman Anthony is the engineer. They will be adding a left turn lane in both directions at Lockdeville Boulevard. The work will stretch along Elmwood Avenue from approximately Clintwood Drive to approximately 150 feet east of Cobb Terrace. They will be widening the street to add that left turn lane, adding some curbing and some catch basins. Importantly, they're going to be adding some concrete sidewalk on the north side from the Faith Temple driveway to connect with sidewalks just east of Cobb Terrace. And we've talked here before about Elmwood Avenue having a gap in sidewalks. It will still have a gap in sidewalks, but this will bridge it slightly. And of course, there will be a new traffic signal at the corner of Lockdeville and Elmwood Avenue, including a left turn lane with related pavement markings and signage. For those of you that drive down Elmwood Avenue, you know that people often stop. Sometimes they don't signal very well, make that left turn onto Lockdeville. That can cause some issues. There's a similar traffic signal at Westfall. And certainly we felt in the town and advocated for this project to the county with the high volumes and somewhat higher speeds on Elmwood, that it was very important to have this project. It was important that it wait until after the school year ended, and it will. I will say that there will be times that traffic will be reduced to one lane in each direction. We're going to be working to try to make sure that to the maximum extent possible, that does not occur during rush hour, because that would be quite disruptive. They anticipate that the project will be completed in early fall, hopefully before school gets back into session, both at Brighton High School and at McQuaid. This notice that I'm referencing has been posted on the town's webpage. I know Dan has posted it as well in social media. The town has posted it in social media. But again, Elmwood and Lockdeville, and I think when the project is over, it will certainly help traffic in that area. So is there anyone else that would like to address the board during the open forum? Hearing none, we will continue with the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I guess we will add, I'm just going to ask that we add these materials that we were provided during the open forum to communications. And with that, is that an acceptable amendment to
Yes.
both of you? Okay. Dan, please call the roll on the motion to approve the agenda.
Councilmember Vogel.
Aye.
Councilmember Novros.
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Can I have a motion to approve and file the town board meeting minutes for May 10th and May 24th, 2017?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel.
Aye.
Councilmember Novros.
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Next matter is to receive and file communications, and again, including the material we've just received. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Couple things I want to mention. First is correspondence that we have responded to concerning continued membership in the Monroe County Consolidated Plan Consortium for Community Development, Block Grants, and related programs. That is the program we have been applying for CDBG funding for a number of years. We did go on our own for a couple of years, 10 years ago or so, and that did not as it turned out, the decision had been made that really made sense to go back into the consortium. I would note that under the present administration, community development block grant funding is now at risk. It has been it's been excluded, it's been eliminated entirely from the president's proposed budget for next year. I have written, there's a consortium of mayors supporting the community development block grant program, and I am a part of that group. We have used community development block grants. It's a relatively small amount of money, but I think we've gotten great bang for the buck with sidewalk projects, but also for the home improvement, the energy efficiency projects. All of these programs are targeted towards census tracts with lower socioeconomic income levels. And they are a way to help us provide necessary services in those areas of the community, particularly in West Brighton. So it is our plan to stay in the consortium, but I hope it's not moot. I hope there will be a CDBG program. I think there will be, because officials across the country recognize how important CDBG has been and how valuable it is to their communities. As I said, we don't get a lot. We may get $30,000 a year plus some money for these home improvement projects. But with that $30,000 or $40,000 a year, we're able to build sidewalks. We've done that along East River Road and some other areas, and I think it's important. We also have a letter from a resident concerning the Whole Foods project, and we also have a copy of the proposed 2018 through 2023 capital improvement plan, together with a copy of supporting correspondence from the county executive. And that plan outlines all of the county's currently tentative plans, at least for the out years, for capital improvements throughout Monroe County, including the town of Brighton. The agenda doesn't have that whole plan, but we have that plan. It'll be available in the clerk's office, and it'll be available in my office. So if anybody's interested in seeing that plan, it's there. Any questions about any of those? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Committee reports. Chris, Community Services.
The next meeting for Community Services is next Wednesday, June 21st. We've moved the time and location to 10 o'clock a.m. here in the Town Hall or auditorium. And we'd be pleased.
And
the
that still
public
could be
attends.
tentative.
And that still could be a tentative, given another conflicting meeting. Wednesday's a busy day.
Thanks, Chris. Jason, Finance?
Yes, Finance Administrative Services met on June 7th. Each of the items that were discussed in our FAST meeting appear on tonight's agenda. Our next regularly scheduled meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, June 21st at 8:30 in the morning. Again, there are some other meetings that are scheduled for that morning, so we may have to move that. It will start at 8:30 in the morning. We meet in the Stage Conference Room here at Town Hall, and the public is invited to attend.
Thanks, Jason. Louise, Public Safety?
Public Safety met this past Tuesday, but I was unable to get their minutes together, so I will present them next time. The next meeting is on July 11th at 8 o'clock in the morning in downstairs meeting room. Public is invited.
Great, thank you. Jim, Public Works?
Public Works met a week ago yesterday, and at that time we had a number of items on the agenda. One of those was the matter of establishing a refuge district for Edgewood Avenue, which I believe is on our agenda tonight. The communications was there was one expressing concern about yard debris collection, concerned about the use of the curb areas for disposal of yard waste. And again, we are really trying to stress the fact is to don't collect your grass clippings and leave them on the curb. Those should be left on your lawn. That is an item that we do not intend to pick up as part of our lawn debris pickup. Under old business, we had discussion on incentive zoning for the project by the DeMarco Group at 1925 South Clinton Avenue. And we discussed the proposed amenities and incentives for that project. And we requested that the applicant consider additional improvements to the amenities, which...
And Jim, I would just ask,
Yeah.
because I have recused myself from that, if you don't really need to get into the
I will move
details
right
of
along.
that project,
Okay.
I would appreciate
Okay.
it.
All right. And the next item was the University of Rochester South Campus IPD Traffic Study Extension, and that is updated every 5 years. And due to the ongoing road work and our RG&E utility improvements in the area, the university is requesting a preparation of that study be delayed. So in order to conduct a traffic analysis at the time would really not be effective, so they've delayed on that. Under new business, the Woodstone Pinnacles Hill subdivision proposed parkland donation included approximately 8 acres of open space, and the developer would like to donate this land to the town of Brighton. So the proposed open space is adjacent to Persimmon Park, and more to follow on that proposal. And under trees, the Public Works reviewed 9 trees for removal. 4 of the trees will require a public hearing prior to the authorization and removal, which we'll move forward with. Our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, July 11th. Now, that'll be the second Tuesday versus the normal first Tuesday because of the 4th of July. So it'll be conducted in the lower level community meeting room, and it will begin this time at 9:30 versus 9 o'clock. That's it.
Good, thank you, Jim. New business, Jason, reading and approval of claims.
Yes, Bill, earlier today I reviewed claims totaling $657,719.27. Notable claims include to Bank of America in the amount of $119,928.14, representing a principal and interest payment for our 2015 public improvement bonds, which included some heavy equipment and capital improvement, heavy equipment purchases and capital improvement projects. Next one was to Greene County Commercial Bank in the amount of $85,442.42, representing a principal and interest payment on our 2016 bonds, which included the Highland Crossing Trail, new flusher and dump truck, as well as the library HVC replacement. And also to Suit Coat Corporation in the amount of $17,984.12 for crack sealing and filling, part of our town roads maintenance program. The claims all appeared to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second.
Any discussion on any of those? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye, Chris.
Next item is for authorization of the supervisor to execute an intermunicipal agreement with the Brighton Central School District to provide a one-to-one aid for a participant in the 2017 Summer Playground Camp Program. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney for the town before us.
Second.
This is a student who was in our program last year. The student does have an aide in school. So the Brighton Central School District is very familiar with this child's needs. The child, as I mentioned, did participate in our summer playground camp program for a week last year very successfully. So this will help the child do so again this summer. And it's great to be able to make sure that all kids have an opportunity to.
And I see the school district will recruit, hire, and train that aide, and we will reimburse the school.
And they have in fact done so, and so that's correct. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Jason.
Yes, the next matter seeks approval to transfer $5,000 from the Corbett's Glen Park Maintenance Supplies account into the Buckland Park Maintenance account to support additional funds needed for related equipment repairs. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Any discussion on this?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
You are forming, or you have formed a committee to study Corbett's Glen because of the different problems it has. why are we taking money out of their account when we will probably have to do a lot of focusing in there on different problems?
The money is available because we got a large amount of wood chips that we had budgeted for use in Corbett's Glen. We've gotten them from landscapers, I think particularly because of the windstorm. They had a lot of wood chips to get rid of. Matt has determined that there are sufficient funds. Remember, this is just maintenance supplies, not necessarily the source of funds that we would need for some of the issues that we were addressing. And in fact, that Corbett's Glen committee did meet today, and we discussed a number of issues relating to Corbett's Glen. Matt will staff that. I was at that meeting, but don't plan on continuing to attend them. Matt will staff those. Matt Beeman. But the maintenance account for Buckland, does need, and obviously, to a certain extent, we have these individual maintenance account funds, but really they're all within the overall park purview. So, but it's for that reason that we have more money in the Corbett's Glen maintenance account, and Matt is comfortable with making the transfer, and the Finance Committee did.
So if you do have to do substantial maintenance to Corbett's Glen, where's that money going to come from?
Well, that's a good question. We don't know yet exactly what is going. We've discussed parking. We've discussed some erosion along the banks. Frankly, the maintenance account really is for things like wood chips. It would not come from this account in any event, to the extent that we had to do significant capital work. My guess is that it might well have to come from one of our reserves, but I would not anticipate that it would necessarily come from this sub-account. And at this point, it's we did talk about a lot of issues. We talked about parking. We talked about the impact of dogs in the park. We talked about refuse, particularly dog feces. So we've identified and discussed a number of issues. They're going to be updating the Parks and Rec Advisory Board at their next meeting. They're a ways away from having firm decision as to what they're
Well,
going to
when you suggested that I call Dennis Adams because I had questions, and I did, and we had about an hour's talk about Corbett's Glen, and it sounds like there's going to be quite a lot of stuff that has to be done, and all the way from, I guess, educating dog owners, disallowing dogs in the park.
When we haven't made any
No, I'm just saying,
decisions
I'm just
yet.
saying these are different things that have been discussed, and I just think that leave their fund alone because there's going to be a lot of stuff that has to be done.
Okay. Any further discussion on that matter?
The other transfer that this money is being used for is for unanticipated repairs to the tractors that are used for mowing at Buckland Park,
Correct.
which we need for this season.
Which we do need.
And even though these tractors are older, they're not quite at the end of their useful life, and to replace them now, it would be a very large expenditure that we haven't budgeted or planned for. But
And the
this-
maintenance is high because they were used a lot last season after the problems that we had with our lawn mowing contractor last year. So there were added maintenance costs after the heavy duty that they put in. So, Louise, I don't disagree at all that we may well need to spend money in Corbett's Glen, but we know today we need to spend money on maintenance on this agreement, on this equipment.
And the extent to which we've saved this money, out of the budget for wood chips that we were anticipating would cost us.
Correct.
Instead, they're free.
Correct.
But they've had
Yeah.
these wood chips coming in from people for years. I mean, when I was on the
But there
board.
was, oh, yes, but the economics of it have changed. The vendor that was in there, they used to pay us to get the wood chips,
Yeah, that's right.
and that's no longer available.
But this year, because of
And
the
now we're
storm,
gonna have to pay for them. I know Matt had reserved money for that
yep,
expense.
but because of the storm, they had more than they needed and didn't have a use for them. So we've taken it off their hands because we do have a use for them. Further discussion?
Doesn't make sense.
Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye?
Councilmember Novros?
No,
Councilmember DeFanzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Jim?
Next is to authorize an agreement extension with the New York State Department of Transportation for the town of Brighton to provide snow and ice control services on state roads for the period of January, or a period from, through June 30th of 2019. I move on the resolution that's prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
As we've discussed in the past, this is one of our major shared services agreements. All of the towns in the county have agreements with the state DOT under which we plow state highways in Brighton, and those other departments plow state highways in their towns. These agreements are always arranged a full year or a full snow and ice season in advance, so this is an agreement that would effectively extend an agreement that currently will expire June 30th, 2018, in other words, a year from now, out another year. So it now won't expire for more than 2 years. And as we've discussed in the past, we do the plowing. Our plows are out on the streets anyway. It's a way we generate revenue from that, and it saves the state the cost of having their own fleet of equipment.
It's also the most efficient way to clear the highways. We're out
Correct.
there anyways. It's
Correct.
It'd be foolish to lift the plow.
Yep. Discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
aye.
Councilmember DeFanzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Chris?
Next item is for approval to accept a donation from Andy Green and Christine Corrado of an exterior clock for use at the Brighton Town Hall outdoor pool site. I move that we accept this and authorize the acceptance of the approval of the resolution that's before us as prepared by the attorney for the town.
Second.
Speaks for itself. They've generously agreed to donate a clock, which there isn't one out there, and it's a convenience for folks.
Discussion.
Absolutely.
Here again, I have asked for things at the pool that have constantly been turned down, and the tables and so forth, and they will not be, will not really cost the town anything because it's all from grant money. So I want to know why this was so acceptable and what I was asking for was not.
Two things. One, it will cost the town money. We would have to buy umbrellas, and that money is there and will be available for other uses. The director, let me finish. The director of Recreation has reviewed your request and believes that the umbrellas that were purchased for tables out there are preferable. You were a part of the process of selecting those umbrellas, that those umbrellas are preferable because the umbrellas that, the bendable with the hinge in it, are subject to damage because people are adjusting them all the time, also more subject to wind damage. And so it is Becky's recommendation not to purchase those umbrellas. And for that reason, because the director of the department does not believe that is a wise use of the money. This clock, on the other hand, will not cost anything. It is a donation from residents.
I'm talking about the tables now, not the umbrellas. Excuse me, the tables that, I was talking to the lifeguards last week, and the head lifeguard said that they really would like some new tables. The ones they have are bold, are warped, and he also would like to spruce up the way the place looks. I've had kids, my daughter has friends that live in other towns and apartment complexes that have pools, and they said this is a disgrace, the way that we are not making it patron friendly.
You know, I think that our pool is anything but a disgrace.
I'm
We know
talking
that
about
it
their
is.
surrounding.
We know that it is a neighborhood pool. We know that we are the stewards of this money. There is a process, Louise, and that is to take it through FASC. But given the fact, have you ever put it on the agenda at a FASC meeting?
Have I, Suzanne?
Tables?
I don't believe so.
No.
The Parks, the Recreation Department Director has told me that it's not in the budget this year, and it's not something that she recommends. Now,
What are we going to do with that money?
we're in the budget process now. We can certainly look at it, but it's got to come through FASC.
Okay, but
Supervisor Maley and Councilmember Novros, I just want to point out that there is a motion before the town board, which has been seconded, regarding the acceptance of a donation of a clock.
Correct.
So if there is a discussion to be had about spending other money on other items, that might be appropriate for a different time, but certainly is not relevant to the motion.
And I always allow, a lot of leeway. Other legislative bodies here in the area are very quick to find discussion out of order. I know this is an issue Louise cares a great deal about, so I wanted to give her the opportunity to raise the issue. And if you would like to bring it into the FASC Finance
We'll do so.
Committee, but we're here to discuss the simple acceptance of a donation of a clock. Is there any further discussion in the matter?
Louise has asked that be added to the community service agenda, which I have added it to our agenda, although there's a FASC meeting just before that, which may be, as I suggested, is an appropriate time to put it on, and I'm happy to review the issue at length, either
Good.
community service or
Good.
FASC.
All right. Thanks, Chris. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
no,
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
I'm pleased to accept this donation. Thank you, Andy, and thank you, Christine. Next matter, Louise.
the next matter is approval to accept a grant award of $125,000 to support the construction.
Oh, Louise, not that one. The one before that.
Sorry, authorization to accept for acceptance of grant funding in the amount of $15,146 from the New York State Department of Criminal Justice Services through the Police Protection Equipment Program with, one, to approval to amend the 2017 Town of Brighton budget to increase appropriations to in account A, Police 3120.2.17, the law enforcement equipment to support same, and two, authorization for supervisor to execute any associated documents and/or agreements relating to same. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
This will enable the police department to purchase some important equipment with no negative impact on the town budget. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Jason.
Yes, the next matter seeks approval to accept a grant award of $125,000 to support the construction and completion of the Brickyard Trail with, one, authorization for the supervisor to execute grant disbursement agreement and all related documents with the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York through the State and Municipal Funding Program, and two, authorization for the Finance Director to make all related accounting transactions. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
These are funds that we have already been committed to us, And this closes out the paperwork. Obviously, the trail is completed and much loved. So, any further discussion on this matter? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros? Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Jim?
Next item is to set July 12, 2017 as a public hearing date to consider proposed Edgewood Avenue Refuse District. I move on the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
This will be a new refuse district as the word keeps getting out. We talk about this a lot. This will save 12 residents along Edgewood Avenue about $150 a year on their refuse bills. And we're happy to bring people into our refuse districts. Last year, we saved approximately $600,000 for our residents. 4,000 approximately residents that are members of refuse districts saved a total of about $600,000 over the waste management rack rate by being members of refuse districts. That is shared services at its best.
Have we ever
Louise?
considered a townwide refuse district?
We have. The challenge is there are reasons that we didn't do it in the first place. Largely because we wanted to give smaller haulers who may not want to bid on the whole town, the commitment to have to bid on all of those. Under state law, there's quite a procedure, even after some legislation a few years back to somewhat simplify consolidation. It would still be a significant undertaking to consolidate all of those refuse districts. Now, we've talked about maybe rather than consolidating them in a townwide district, maybe consolidating them in quadrants or some other smaller group, but that would still require going through the process of following the state law with permissive referendum and everything else. So what we've really focused on is bringing people in, saving them money. We do bid each district separately, and under our current contract with Waste Management, they do commit that they will make their services available on the same terms that they currently do to any new residents coming in. So we're going to have another dozen. Further discussion? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio? Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Jim?
Next is to approve the extended completion date to July 31st of this year of the final environmental impact statement for the proposed Whole Foods Plaza project. I move in the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Thanks, Jason. Let me give a little bit more background on this matter. As you know, we held a public hearing on the supplemental draft environmental impact statement. It was followed by a written comment period. The next step in the environmental review process, and again, I hear this a lot. People think there's a done deal. We have not voted on this project. We have not approved or rejected this project. We continue to be in the environmental review phase, and the preparation of the final environmental impact statement is the next step in that process. That's a document that really starts with the applicant responding to the myriad, hundreds of pages of written comments, as well as all of the verbal comments at both the draft environmental impact statement hearing and the supplemental draft environmental impact statement hearing. Under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQR regulations, a final environmental impact statement must be completed within 45 days of the end of the public hearing, but there is broad discretion to extend that time period. And what we're proposing to do is extend that time period to July 31st to give the applicant time to prepare what it has to do, and frankly, for us to have time to review their materials, to review them with our consultant, for us to review the comments and make determinations as to whether they've adequately addressed the environmental impacts and the mitigations thereof. And the 45-day period would expire, I believe, on June 25th or so, which is before our next town board meeting. So it's important that this be done correctly and thoroughly. So we're extending the period of time until July 31st to do that, is the proposal. Further discussion on that? Did that make sense to everybody? Ken?
The only thing I'll add is, since we're at this time uncertain as to how the process will go in terms of finalizing that document, because there's still much work to be done to do that, it might be necessary to extend it even further beyond July 31st, and that is also permissible. So this isn't a one-time only extension. If you need more time because you're not done looking at things and drafting a document that you're satisfied with, we can take action to extend it out further if needed.
Good. Yep, thank you. Again, further discussion on that matter? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
No.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. On matters of the supervisor, Suzanne, expense and revenue report.
Receiving and filing today for me.
And next month, when we have the June done, we will do that. Can I have a motion to receive and file the May 31st, the expense and revenue report for the month of May ending May 31st, 2017?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. A couple things that I want to mention also in matters of the supervisor. As I mentioned last meeting, I have joined with what is now over 307 mayors from across the country, from both parties, as climate mayors. And we are committing our community to continued support, continued recognition that climate change is reality and that we have an obligation to take action to protect our children and our grandchildren from the implications of that. And of course, part of that reflects the feelings of myself, I think this board, and the other members of climate mayors, that although the Paris Accord and important international agreements like that may not always be perfect, but they are important. And we should never let the quest for the perfect stand in the way of the good. Removing the United States from the Paris Accord is something that I would disagree with, and express that by joining with the climate mayors. But we will be doing a lot more than that. Today was actually the initial conference call of the climate mayors. They're discussing, and they've already done, requests for proposals to facilitate the acquisition of electric vehicles for fleets. One of the things they're looking at really encouraging, they want to send a message to manufacturers that the municipal market is a strong market for electric vehicles, and they want to make sure that they are, in fact, designing vehicles for the municipal market, providing information, advice, consulting for various sustainable projects. And I think as such, it will fit in very nicely with our own sustainability efforts through our Sustainability Oversight Committee. So I did want to mention that again, and I expect that we'll be updating the community on a regular basis on the activities of the climate mayors. As I mentioned a moment ago, we have begun the budget development process. Each of the department heads has developed proposed 3-year capital improvement plans for their individual departments, as we do each year. And our Budget Review Task Force, a group of Brighton residents with expertise in the finance and budgeting area, will be holding its first meeting tomorrow with me and also with Suzanne and Roger from our finance department to begin the process, as we do every year, of developing a 3-year capital improvement plan. As we do every year, at least we certainly have for the last 5 years, because we have dealt with challenging economic times that have improved, but also with the strictures of the state tax cap that we have to make every effort to work within. So our charge to both our volunteers and to our departments has been pretty rigorous in terms of unnecessary expenditures of funds. But we start that process again this year. We will go far above and beyond what state law requires in terms of the open process. We will have in August budget workshops of the town board that are open to the public, at which each department will have an opportunity to sort of walk through their budget request. The Finance Committee will consider both the capital improvement plan as well as the overall budget. Those meetings are open to the public. And we will have not just one, but we will have 2 budget hearings of the full town board, as we do each year. And as always, it is our goal that this budget be approved by the town board in October before the elections. As we've said year after year after year, it's important that when people go to the polls, they know how the people that represent them are handling their money as stewards. So that's the process you can look forward to. And it really starts in earnest tomorrow with that first meeting of the Budget Review Task Force. Last, I just want to mention we had a wonderful time this past weekend, Gideon Cobb Days, historic Brighton, in partnership with the town and with sponsorships from a number of other agencies and groups, the Brighton Chamber of Commerce, the Brighton Rotary, Electronic Field Productions, who does our video work, all sponsored Gideon Cobb Days. And it was a great opportunity to get to know a little more about the history of the town. Gideon Cobb was one of the early brick makers and a very important figure. Obviously, he has Cobb's Hill named after him because that was his mansion, and it was a mansion, was on Monroe Avenue right at the foot of Cobb's Hill. It's no longer there, and in fact, it's no longer in the town of Brighton, but back then it was. Cobb Terrace is also named after him. So we celebrated his history. We also remembered a great historian, artist, and author, Leo Dodd, with the award of the first Leo Dodd Heritage Award to former Supervisor Sandy Frankel on Friday at a luncheon. And on Sunday, had a great trail walk led by a couple of docents, including Peggy Dempsey and our own town historian, Mary Jo Lanphier. And that was a lot of fun. The weather cooperated and wound up with an old-fashioned ice cream social with a town resident playing a barrel organ, one of the crank things. And boy, I'll tell you, if that doesn't take you back, nothing will. It was just great to hear Jeff playing that. Got some video of that up online. So it was a lot of fun. I want to thank Historic Brighton, and specifically I want to thank Ray Tierney, who organized the event. All the volunteers, the Brighton Police Department helped make sure everybody stayed safe crossing Westfall Road. So it was a lot of fun, and looking forward to doing it again next year. That's everything I have. Ken, matters of the attorney?
Only because of the air conditioning, I'm not sure that my note-taking was accurate, so I'm asking the town clerk if he could provide to me the votes on 2 matters, just so I make sure my notes are correct. On the matter regarding the acceptance of the donation of the clock, could you please tell me what the vote was on that?
Vogel, yes. Novros, no. DePonzio, yes. Werner, yes. Maley, yes.
And on the last item, extending the time beyond next week for completing the final environmental impact statement for the Whole Foods Plaza project, what was the vote on that?
Vogel, yes. Novros, no. DePonzio, yes. Werner, yes. Maley, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect segue to matters of the town clerk.
I, for one, am enjoying the air conditioning, but I have no matters this evening.
Matters of the town board.
Bill, a couple things I wanted to mention. First of all, I'm very excited for people to go out to Westfall. Westfall Road at the intersection with Lac DeVille and Barclay Square. The students have completed the painting of 2 traffic control boxes out there, and they're really wonderful to go by. It always gives me a warm feeling to know that we've got great kids like this in our town. And also have artistic talent that they really want to improve the town. But Ms. Katie Malley's Brighton High School Art Club designed those, working with the town. We got the approval for them from the County Department of Transportation. And a town council member went out and did the priming, and he will go out again on Friday, hopefully if it doesn't rain, to do the anti-graffiti coating on them as well. But please.
Kudos to that council member.
But I would love to receive more designs for traffic control boxes in Brighton. We haven't touched the west side of town. We've got one, hopefully, that can be done over in the Carroll Kenyon had targeted one at, excuse me, I think it was Blossom and Clover. I'm lost now. It's kind of over on the east side.
Yes.
North Landing Road, excuse me, South Landing Road and
Lots.
and Penfield.
Penfield Road.
Penfield Road.
Okay, yes, yes.
Where she's got an idea. Unfortunately, she fell and broke her ankle. But she's going to work on a design for me. But anybody else who's interested in painting one of these boxes, look around town, look for the yellow traffic lights, the ones that are encased in yellow. Those are county controls, and the county is receptive to our suggestions there. So please get those to me. We'll take care of the permitting. We'll do the priming and the finish coat on them, but you do the design. And I think it's real fun to see what's coming up. The other thing that I went out of my thought to do was to sign up for the police blotter, and now get every couple of days an updated copy of the police blotter. It's very easy to access it. It gives you an idea of what the police are challenged with, and summertime is an active time. Particularly, and it seems that, Mark, from what I see, it's perhaps 80% car crime from what's on the police blotter. Any comments there?
We try to get the message out. I heard you talk about Corbett's Glen. There's 2 areas of parking for Corbett's Glen. Unfortunately, we're seeing some activity where the vehicles are being locked, but items are clearly visible from the outside, and windows are being smashed. You can see the remnants of the glass. We're looking at some different approaches to that from a law enforcement perspective, but the best is crime prevention, and the best is not to have items of value in a car that would attract criminal activity. And unfortunately, it's not just limited to parking areas for our park. It's also in our neighborhoods where people feel comfortable parking their car in their driveway, but forgetting to take that step of removing the valuables and locking the cars. So on our blotter, you'll see that we put out a header, and that we ask people to do exactly what we're talking about right now. Remove the items and secure the vehicle. And I noted one media outlet picked up on that last week and said that the Brighton police are doing just that. So, Chris, if we can get that message out tonight via the town board meeting, and we'll continue to do that through our blotter posts.
But obviously, the preference at home, if you have a garage, the safest place to park it is in the garage. But again, lock your car in the garage. But if you have to park in the driveway or park it anywhere, please lock your car and don't leave valuables, including, just coins. Sometimes it's easy to forget. We may have coins sitting in a, cup holder. That can be all it takes. Someone sees that, they figure, well, if nothing else, they'll get that. So, can't stress enough, the chief is absolutely right. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Nothing further.
Thanks.
Mark, who do we report graffiti to?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
I was going down that little alley next to the shopping center where the CVS used to be,
Brighton
and
Commons area?
right over here on 12 Corners. And somebody has sprayed painted the whole brick wall of what used to be, what are the stores there, and I don't know who to talk to about that.
So I'll communicate that out. Unfortunately, we're starting to see some activity with some vandalism in town. We had a report of 2 instances at the high school where there was some graffiti and criminal mischief, and that's concerning to us. I'll communicate that back to staff, and we'll communicate to the property owners as well.
Okay.
It is concerning. I'm starting to detect an uptick in that. But we'll do the best we can in that regard too.
Okay, because I saw it's where Sabra ends, and it's all the way down.
Yeah, there's some construction going on in one of the buildings, and I'll personally go out and take a look at it in the morning, or maybe later if we're done early.
Thanks, Mark. Any other matters of the board? Then can I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss the employment of particular people
So moved.
and a matter of litigation?
Second.
Discussion? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Vogel?
Aye.
Councilmember Novros?
Aye.
Councilmember DeFoncio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Our next meeting will be 2 weeks from tonight, Wednesday, June 28th, 7 o'clock, right here in this room. Have a great evening.